you ever wondered why Islamic nations aren't taking action on the issue of Palestine? A question that hangs heavily in the air, echoing through various political corridors and around the world. This is not a trivial query, my friends. The issue of Palestine is one that has stirred the international stage for decades, its roots burrowing deep into the soil of history and geopolitics. Palestine, a land of significant religious and cultural importance, finds itself entangled in a complex web of occupation, conflict, and resistance. Yet the silence from the Islamic nations, whose religious and political interests are inherently intertwined with the Palestinian cause, is deafening. These nations, despite their shared faith and proclaimed solidarity with the Palestinian people, seem to be on the sidelines, watching the drama unfold without taking decisive action. Why is that so? What's holding them back? Is it a lack of political will? Or is there a more intricate play of power and diplomacy at work here? These are questions that beg for answers, but to truly grasp the complexity of this stance, we need to journey back in time and unravel the historical threads that have woven this intricate tapestry. To understand this conundrum, we must first look at the historical timeline of events. The issue of Palestine isn't a recent development, it has deep roots in history. The seeds of the conflict were sown back at the end of World War II, when the United Nations proposed the partitioning of Palestine into two separate states, one Jewish and one Arab. With this, Israel was established in 1948, sparking a war with its Arab neighbors. Over the years, the conflict has seen numerous wars and uprisings, with the most notable one being the Six-Day War in 1967. In this war, Israel seized control of the Gaza Strip, the West Bank, and East Jerusalem. These occupied territories have been at the heart of the Israel-Palestine conflict ever since. The late 20th century also saw a series of peace agreements known as the Oslo Accords between Israel and Palestine. However, these accords did not lead to a lasting solution, and the conflict continued, marked by periods of intense violence. The turn of the century saw a significant shift in the dynamics of the conflict. In 2004, the International Court of Justice ruled that Israel's building of a wall in the occupied West Bank and East Jerusalem was illegal, but Israel rejected this ruling. Fast forward to the present day, and the issue remains unresolved. The status of Jerusalem, the right of return for Palestinian refugees, security concerns, and the future borders of Israel and Palestine are all contentious issues that have yet to be settled. The involvement of Islamic nations in this conflict has been complex and varied. While some have openly supported Palestine, others have chosen a more diplomatic route, seeking to maintain relations with both Israel and Palestine. In recent years, we've seen a thawing of relations between Israel and some Islamic nations. The Abraham Accords, signed in 2020, formalized diplomatic relations between Israel and the United Arab Emirates, marking a significant shift in the region's political landscape. With this historical context in mind, let's delve into the response of Islamic nations. Islamic nations, despite their vocal support for the Palestinian cause, have been notably silent in taking action. As we delve deeper into this silence, we uncover a complex web of factors. Political alliances, economic interests, and geopolitical considerations all play a part. Take, for example, the United Arab Emirates. The nation has deepened its relations with Israel under the Abraham Accords, reaping benefits in trade and tourism. Yet, despite criticism of Israel's violations of Palestinian rights, their actions fail to match their rhetoric. This disparity highlights the delicate balance between national interests and moral obligations. Equally intriguing is the case of Saudi Arabia. The kingdom, as a heavyweight in the Islamic world, is being watched closely. It finds itself in ongoing negotiations with Israel, brokered by the United States. The outcome of these talks could potentially sway the stance of other Arab Islamic nations, further underscoring the geopolitical complexity. Yet amidst these political maneuvers, the voice of the Palestinian people seems to be lost. The plight of those living under occupation, their daily struggles and aspirations, are overshadowed by the grand chess game of international politics. This silence raises a question about the role of morality in international politics. In the complex web of international relations, the issue of Palestine raises difficult questions. We've journeyed through the historical timeline of the Palestinian issue, a narrative marked by decades of conflict and fraught with political complexities. We've observed the response, or rather the lack thereof, from Islamic nations, a silence that echoes loud in the chambers of international diplomacy. These nations, bound by religious affinity and historical ties to Palestine, find themselves navigating a delicate balance of national interests, regional politics, and global alliances. On one hand, they face the challenge of preserving diplomatic relations and economic ties. On the other, they grapple with the moral and political responsibility to support the Palestinian cause. We've explored the factors contributing to this silence, from the influence of major powers to the pressures of economic and strategic interests. We've seen how alliances shift, how narratives are shaped, and how the geopolitical chessboard is constantly in flux. While the question of why Islamic nations aren't taking action on Palestine doesn't have a simple answer, it prompts us to consider the complex dynamics of international politics at play. And as we continue to seek solutions, we remember that beneath the politics and power games, there are real people, real lives affected. Let's not lose sight of that.